Have you ever felt anxious about spending money, even though you know you can afford it? You are not alone. In today's video, we're going to talk about how your money mindset can play a pivotal role in your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions around your money, and give you simple tools to shift that mindset and actually go from a place of insecurity and scarcity to a place of prosperity and abundance. I'm Laura, co founder of Steady Worth and a life and leadership coach. And I spent the last 10 years as a corporate consultant. And even though I was making well above six figures, I still felt anxious, stressed, and nervous about money and whether or not I could afford my lifestyle. After working through my own journey and helping dozens of other high earning professionals organize their money, eliminate limiting beliefs, and set a clear vision for their life, I want to break down some of the simple steps that it takes in this video so that you can do the same. First and foremost, what is a money mindset? A money mindset is a particular set of beliefs, thoughts, or feelings that you have around money in particular. And when you think about a mindset or a belief system, you want to think about this as if it was an operating system on your computer, on your cell phone. This is something that silently operates in the background and can really dictate how you operate in your day to day life. So if you are unaware of your operating system, or your operating system is quote unquote out of date and has old beliefs or beliefs that don't necessarily serve you anymore, you're going to be operating at a limited capacity and you're not going to be able to achieve everything that you're looking to achieve in your life. The key to peace and prosperity around your money really is your mindset. It starts with what you think and believe about money. That's why it is so important to not only have the tactical steps when it comes to growing your money and growing your wealth, but it's equally important to have a mindset that revolves around abundance and peace and confidence, because those are the things that are going to perpetuate growth and perpetuate your ability to grow wealth and your ability to grow in your relationships, in yourself, in your job, in your career, whatever it is that you decide to do. So it is really important to understand what are those belief systems that are operating in the back. And this video, like I said, is going to help you uncover what that might be and how you might be able to shift. And one of the things that I was actually reading a coaching book on the plane this last weekend, and it was talking about belief systems, and that beliefs, we don't possess beliefs, but beliefs possess us, meaning that they are the essence of our being. What we believe about ourselves, about money, about the world dictates every action, every feeling that we have. And so it's so vitally important to be able to take a step back and assess that. I was watching a podcast earlier this week, doing some research for this video, and I stumbled across this guy who was talking about money mindset, abundance, prosperity. And this was something that I thought was so interesting. We normally ask people like what their first money memory is. And a lot of people have different stories. My story is that my first time that I really remember needing money for something is I really, really wanted to have a dog. And my dad did not like dogs. He didn't want to buy me a dog. And so he said, "You can have a dog if you pay for it yourself." And so being the competitive person that I am, I decided to save up my allowance, my money, my Christmas money, my birthday money, any money that I found on the street into a little piggy bank for my dog fund. And I ended up saving about $300. This was back in 1997, keep in mind. So it took me quite a few years, but that was also a lot of money for a 7-year old. It took me, like I said, about 2 years. I did all my research. I went to the store. I got a dog magazine. I found a breeder. I ended up buying myself a Welsh Corgi, and my dad did not know what to do with me. And so, but I just kind of learned the power of saving and working hard and knowing what you want, and being able to put your mind and your money and your time towards that. And so that was one of my first memories. But the way that this guy kind of positioned it was, he asked a question. He said, growing up, money was fill in the blank. And the first thing that came to my mind was scarce. And he then proceeded to basically say that a majority of people's first response to that question is scarce. So, depending on your culture, your upbringing, whether your parents talked about money or didn't talk about it, you may have a slightly different answer. But for me, that was like really eye opening, because scarce equals scarcity mindset. So that experience as a child kind of shaped how I grew as an adult into my later years earning an income and trying to figure out what exactly I was going to do with my money, how I was going to use money, and what that was going to kind of do for my life overall. And so I'm curious if you want to fill in the blank and leave that in the comments. I would love to hear what some of your thoughts are, or what some of your experiences were, or what some of your fill in the blanks were for that as well. For me, operating from a place of scarcity obviously can breed all sorts of limiting beliefs, and that's something that I kind of want to touch into in this next section, and why our money mindset is so important. And so I'm just thinking, like, even when you think about athletes, like the best athletes in the world, if you hear them talk, if you hear them interview, they always talk about mindset. They always talk about visualization. They always talk about how they have to overcome challenges and setbacks, how they use their mind and their mental resilience or fortitude to do that, right? And the same is true with our money. Like, we have to be able to rise above setbacks, things that life throw at us, like job loss, or things don't necessarily go your way, or you blow a flat tire or something, you get into a car accident, god forbid. But stuff happens in life, and so it's how can we build our minds around money to be resilient, to be able to overcome uncertainty. These are all the things that the best athletes do, and it's so relevant for us when it comes to our money as well. And so one of the most common ones, I'm curious what some of your money beliefs are. So go ahead and drop those in the chat too. But a common one that we hear all the time, especially in Christian circles, is money is the root of all evil. And I think for Christians and non-Christians alike, I think that scripture can be taken out of context. And I think it's really important to understand what you're reading in the context of the whole scripture, of the whole chapter, of the whole Bible. Money is the root of all evil. So you have to think about, it's not evil in and of itself. It can breed evil actions depending on how you use it and depending on your money mindset. Like, depending on how you view money, is this going to solve all my problems? Probably not. That's another belief that people think, like, money is going to solve all my problems, so I'll just pay this person off, or I'll just do this, or I'll sweep that under the rug. And so that's when your mindset and your values and your integrity aren't in place, money can really aid or perpetuate bad dealings, right? And so I want to be cautious and careful about thinking it's evil in and of itself, because if that were true, if you were to read the rest of the Bible, think about the greats: Abraham, Isaac, Joseph, Solomon, David, all of these main characters in the Bible. Even if you've never read the Bible, I'm sure you've heard of Abraham, I'm sure you've heard of Joseph. All of these people had significant wealth, material wealth, that they were blessed by, but it was in the proper order. They were submitted to the Lord, they were submitted to their call and their purpose, and therefore financial abundance was a byproduct of that. And so there's two things when it comes to your money mindset. Like, you have to really be clear on what's operating, right, and what you believe about money, and then be discerning in how you distribute that, right? So I hope that makes sense. But that's a big one that holds a lot of people back from pursuing wealth, from pursuing their purpose, because they don't want to, quote unquote, get caught up in the evil of it. But at the end of the day, like, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we all are prone to selfishness. So it's going to happen regardless of whether you go for it or not. And I think, at least if you're going for it, submitted to God, this is something that you can overcome pretty easily. If you're not a Christian, you're not a believer, it's still relevant for you. The second common limiting belief that I have, and there's several here, I'm only going to go through a few. If you want to dive really deep into this, we actually have a PDF like workbook that you can go through, and it talks about all the different money mindsets that you could have, and helps and has reflection questions. I can leave the link in the description box below so that you can check that out and dive deeper. And of course, if you have any questions or want to run through this with Gabe or I'll leave a link where you can book a free clarity call as well, and we can walk you through this, because I'm so passionate about this idea. I think this is literally so fundamental to our ability to grow wealth, our ability to have a happy life, our ability to have a healthy life, and our ability to really pursue our purpose. So I think it's really important. And this is something that I've struggled with over the years. And so I'm still a work in progress. I'm still on my journey, but I have learned so much in the last few years working with Gabe, working with a lot of our clients, facilitating workshops, and just really challenging myself to get out of this zone and to transition. I'm a big component of leading by example. So it's like you can't ask someone to do something that you haven't committed to yourself. And so that's just like a big part of our brand and our Gabe and I's personality as well, is like we want to be examples of what it is we're talking to people about. And so I went on a little bit of a rant there, but it's just reiterating the importance of how your mindset can really impact. So the second common limiting belief is money is hard to come by. And this is another one that I've definitely fallen into the trap around and can really wreak havoc on your daily life, your relationships, your happiness, your excitement, your fulfillment. If you believe that money is hard to come by and that you have to work really hard and that you have to strive and that you have to do all these things to make things better, um, money will be hard to come by. It's kind of like what's that term where it's like you create what you think, right? And so this is a big one. And the shift is maybe not as easy as it sounds out loud, but truly money is not hard to come by. Money is hard to come by is almost a lie or a non-truth. It may have been hard to come by in your life and in various seasons of your life, but overall, if you've got the right mindset, if you've got the right tactics, if you're able to move yourself and operate. And so I think it's really important to even shift this. And this is something I'm working on too, is like money is easy to get. It's flowing easily. There's money being exchanged all the time for value. So how can I position myself in a way that's valuable and can produce something that money will just come to me, right? And so I think that one takes a little bit longer of a time to possibly transition over. So give yourself some grace. I've had to do that for myself as well. But just a little shift in your mindset as you approach different activities can really change this and produce a lot of ease in your life. Like one thing that we really, really emphasize with our clients is how can you do something that you're genuinely excited and passionate about in your everyday work? It's like if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Like, how can we get you really crisp and clear on what those values are? And um and then use that to create value, which will then create wealth, right? And so it's just a little bit of a shift in your mindset. So the last one I'm going to touch on in this video is, and I've heard this one a lot as well, money is not that important. So which I think I've said at some point, like motivate money doesn't really motivate me. When really I was kind of just telling myself a lie, to be honest, because I was fully 100% motivated by money and I just was in denial of it. My career says that I at one point when I first entered the work career, I mean, not first, but when I got my first real job, I was making $34,000 a year. By the time I exited my career about 2 years ago to join Steadyworth, I was making just above 200K. So this was something that was always important to me. I genuinely believe money would solve my problems. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Sorry to break it to you. But I believe the lie that money was not important. And I think if you really sit down and look at reality, like money is the lifeblood of our society. Everything runs off of currency. I'm sitting at a computer and a desktop, all the things that I had to pay for in order to do what I'm doing right now. Spending time with Gabe is a currency, but we like to go out to eat. We like to do this. We like to do some other things, and that adds value to our life as well. Money really needs to be seen as a tool and as a fuel for your lifestyle and not something that's unimportant. I think a lot of people use this as an excuse to not manage their money well or justify spending money that they shouldn't spend or whatever the case may be. I don't know what the excuse might be for you, but I've heard a lot of people say like money isn't that important. And that may be true, but it is the lifeblood of our society and we do need to steward it well, and use it to fuel the lifestyle that we're living. So, as you can see, a lot of these limiting beliefs can fly under the radar. And the more experience we have that backs up that belief, the less likely we are to be able to see it and identify it in our regular lives, because it'll feel like just a part of our personality, and it'll feel like a truth to us that everyone believes, when in fact not everyone believes that. It's just your set of experiences that you've accumulated over time. And so I think it's really important to understand that. So this next section, I want to talk to you about how to start noticing your money mindset. And this is the practice of self-awareness. So self-awareness is probably, when people ask me like what's the most important thing that I could develop or I could do, it's developing self-awareness, because I think we're in our heads so much that we don't understand or see our patterns in the way that other people see them. When we're probably more hard on ourselves than anyone else in society. And so we don't always see the good, but we also can miss some of the things that are really hindering us, or um, slowing us down towards our goals or accomplishing our goals. And so practicing self awareness is actually pretty simple. It's just hard to do consistently. No better way to practice self awareness than to get a notebook or open up a notes app and start noticing. Like, it sounds simple, but it's like, start when you wake up in the day, start noticing what you're doing. And then if you start feeling anxious, it's like, what am I feeling anxious about? If you're feeling stressed, what am I feeling stressed about? If you go to pay for a latte and you're like cringing, what is that about? I can remember um this was years and years ago, and I didn't quite understand what was going on, but I had just gotten into the workforce. I was making pennies on the dollar, not that much. I think I was working at Nordstrom at the time. And I was going Christmas shopping, and I had a list of all the people I wanted to get Christmas gifts for, because I was really excited that I was making money and I was going to be able to pay for these Christmas gifts with my own money. But then I think I sat down and I was looking at my bank account and I didn't see that much money in there. And I started to have like a little mini panic attack. And I had to sit down in the middle of the department store and kind of collect myself. But I didn't understand that I was coming from a place of scarcity. But looking back on it now, I can see that. And so I think being able to just take some time to reflect and really think about what you're doing, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling can be a really great first step for people who have never done anything like this before. I remember when I first went into grad school, a big component of my graduate school program was something we called use of self. So, like, as a facilitator, as a corporate consultant facilitating change in people, you really needed to understand yourself so that you didn't get in the way of other people's process. And I find that to be the most valuable skill I've learned in all my life. It's still useful to this day. But when I sat down in that first class, we were asked to reflect and notice our behavior and notice our reactions. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like, I have so much to learn. I have so much that I don't know about myself, and it was actually quite overwhelming at the time. But one thing that I can say is it's really, you just go one day at a time. There's no end date to investing in yourself. Like, there's no end date. You never have to, there's not a day when you have to be perfect. So you're not on a timeline. Like, the joy and the beauty of life is getting up and improving yourself every day, improving your relationships, improving your habits, your mindset, all of that stuff. And so if it feels a little bit overwhelming to sit down and think about what you're thinking, think about what you're feeling and how that impacts your actions, I hear you. I understand. If you want more support in that, again, please feel free to reach out to us. We have a call link below where you can book some time. But that kind of leads me to my second thing. Sometimes it's really difficult to assess yourself accurately. And so my second invitation for you would be, excuse me, to talk to a trusted friend or someone who knows you really well and ask them what they think about your money mindset or what they observe from you, what some different patterns are from you. And again, this might be a little bit hard to do, but it can open a lot of doors in terms of awareness. And the great thing about awareness is once you know about it, you can work to change it. And so I think that's really important to remember as well. And I think last but not least, if you don't have anyone that you can really trust around this, like if your family is perpetuating these behaviors and they have kind of no interest in changing, or they don't have the tools and resources to help you change as well, you can't find a mentor or you can't engage with anyone, like please reach out to us. Like this is what we do. We help people with this every single day. And this is something that we're both really, really passionate about. Yeah, reach out to us or reach out to another money coach who focuses on mindset. Of course, the tactical pieces are good, and I'm not saying that they aren't good. And we have plenty of those videos coming where we're going to teach you tactically how to set up your investment accounts, what's the difference between a Roth IRA and investing and a brokerage account, Bitcoin and all that stuff. But really, like how you approach it with your mind is going to be the most important. And so sometimes having some extra help to identify that and help you create awareness is really important. And that's something I'm super passionate about. The benefits of coaching and having that outside perspective are through the roof. I encourage you to go do some research on coaches, and like legit coaches, not like self-proclaimed ones, people that actually have expertise, credentials, things like that. Can really help you create awareness around this as well and really shift how you think about money, how you experience your day-to-day life, and get you on the path to growing wealth. This is going to be a series probably. Today was really just about like understanding money mindset as a whole, understanding where limiting beliefs might be and how to make some subtle shifts. I'm going to create a couple more videos on this topic to dive even deeper on this. So if you're interested in that, or if you have something that you're really interested in me diving into, leave it in the comments. And if you want to dive deep on your own, we have a money mindset PDF that's actually a workbook that will ask you questions and can help you do some of that reflecting around your money mindset and how you can make those shifts. And that link is going to be available below. And then I just want to remind you that your beliefs are something that you can change. Beliefs are not set in stone. These are not things that are immovable, something that you can't move, shift, or change. And so I think the beauty about being here watching this video till the end, even if you have made it this far, is that you are willing to willing to do the work. And sometimes the work is just sitting down every day, being disciplined and really assessing where you're at, what you want to change, and what you are okay with. Because a lot of people feel stuck but don't want to change and don't want to do anything different, don't want to put themselves out there, don't want to put themselves in an uncomfortable position, don't want to feel the anxiety, don't want to feel the uncertainty. So they just never do anything. And I encourage you to not do that, because when you push through those things, it's kind of thinking of Finding Nemo, if you've ever seen that movie, where they say go through, not over the top. Don't try and go around it. Don't try and make a different path. Just go through it. Just keep swimming through it and you'll get through to the other side. Whereas like if you're trying to go around it, or you're trying to go above it or avoid it, you're just going to end up in a sea of jellyfish and get stung a bunch of times without really knowing it. And so you can change. It's possible to shift this stuff. It's possible to get rid of these old mindsets that are holding you back and really move forward to accomplishing your goal, living your purpose, and creating wealth. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll talk soon.